everybody. So it has been a while since we last saw you. It is currently Father's Day.
Yeah, 21st.
Yep, so June 21st. And Crew was born on June 2nd, so he is officially, he's going to be 3 weeks old on Tuesday. Today's Sunday.
Yep.
So it's been a while since you last saw us, so we just kind of wanted to recap everything that went down because we didn't do a very good job of filming in the hospital.
No, we did not.
Because,
we sucked.
Like, you're not really supposed to film in the hospital, so
and everything went so fast.
Everything went so fast. We were so busy. So we just kind of want to give you like our little birth story, our labor and delivery story, and what all happened. So we'll start from the very beginning on like
the sonogram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like our 40-week sonogram.
So basically, Crew we knew was going to go over. So his induction date was originally set for June 8th, which means he was going to be born on either the 8th or the 9th, you know, just kind of depending on whenever Sienna had that natural labor, because our plan was to have a natural birth. That's what Sienna wanted to do. So we did that, and then on his due date, so on May 29th, it was a Friday, we went in to have a sonogram because he had to start doing weekly sonograms and weekly stress tests to make sure that he was okay. And at the sonogram, they measured him, and he weighed an estimated 8 pounds. So he
and 11 ounces.
8 pounds and 11 ounces. So that is a huge baby, especially if it was going to be in there for another week and a half to 2 weeks. So we got a call on Friday night from Dr. Jarvis.
So that day, right?
It's literally that night, yeah. A couple hours later, and they said, hey, you know, that baby's already too big. It's just going to be a really unpleasant natural birth if you decide, like, because we've already decided to have natural birth. So we've got to have that baby out on Monday. So we were like really, really stressed out.
Monday, the
first, yeah.
June 1st.
So Monday, June 1st, we'd go in and start the induction process.
So that weekend was crazy. We found out that we were getting induced.
We thought we had a week and another weekend.
Yeah.
So we thought we had 2 weekends and a week.
But it turns out we had like one weekend. We had Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, and so Friday was done too. So we had like Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then Monday night we were going to go in.
So we freaked out, and we were like, well, that's crazy. So we started stressing. We had a lot to do still. We still had to clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
We had to...
That's basically it. We just had to deep clean the kitchen.
And the kitchen was definitely the biggest task because we had to clean the fridge, the counters, the cabinets, clean out the cabinets, reorganize, bring the baby stuff in, clean the baby stuff, clean the top of the counters. It was disgusting. Yeah. So we have not cleaned our kitchen very good since we moved in here, and we've never deep cleaned it. So it was disgusting. Anyway, so we had a huge blowout fight that weekend, and it sucked, and I ended up cleaning the kitchen by myself.
I helped too.
You did help a little bit.
I did help.
Yeah, but I was like, go away. I just don't want to hang out with you right now. So I cleaned. It was bad. We fought all weekend until like Sunday, and then we're like, oh, let's not fight, and then we packed up our bags, our suitcases to go, right?
Yeah. Well, they were basically already packed.
The emergency
bag,
finished. Like the last second.
The last minute stuff. So.
And then.
So Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night.
We went in at like 6:30, I think it was.
We were supposed to be there at 6:30.
Yeah. And then we got in the car and we were out of gas and we were running late. And then Josh's brother said like he wanted us to stop by real quick.
So I gave him his birthday present.
So we had
he got all in his feelings if I wouldn't have came by. And he's like, no, I get it. It's whatever.
So we were a little bit late to the hospital.
Yeah, like 6:45.
Yeah. So we got there and like right away, like they're like, all right, we need to check you. So like we got in the door and then like they're like, all right, get undressed and like we're gonna check you to see how far you were dilated. So like it went so fast from the moment we got into the hospital. I got into a hospital gown. They checked me. And I was like, what, 1 centimeter dilated?
Yeah, maybe, and like that was before you were induced at all. So
yeah, that was like natural. And before, the last time she checked me, I was like zero still. So that was a good thing.
Which is good because like the week before was like -3.
Yeah.
And then it was 0, and then yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say?
It went really.
Oh yeah, and on the sonogram, the baby we found out dropped, which we didn't know.
Yes. Yep.
That either until then. So the baby dropped and now it was 1 centimeter dilated. So labor did kind of like, you know, start on its own, just a tiny bit. But then they started giving me medicine to soften my cervix.
Yep.
And so that's what they started doing that night. They put my IVs in.
We watched TV and
we watched a little bit of TV. They had me on like the bouncy ball,
which was really fun.
Yeah, which was fun. What else did we do? Walked up and down the hall.
Walked up and down the hallway a little bit. We had snacks because the hospital there had great snacks, which was cool. And then, I mean, literally, it was really chill.
My contractions started too, actually.
But they weren't bad at all.
No, they weren't bad. But I did start to actually feel some contractions.
Which she had never felt a contraction before,
no,
so that's the significance there.
And that wasn't even because of medicine. Like, that was just naturally there.
Yeah, so that was wild, because the first time you felt those was in the hospital.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like, we're doing good, and there's this like really comfortable chair bed thing, and I was like, man, this would be a really great chair if it like pulled out to a couch, and they're like, we're sorry, it doesn't do that. So we'll wait till the next day to tell you that story. But anyway, so they brought us our blankets, and we
went to bed.
We went to bed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like
4:45.
Yeah, it's like 4:30, 4:45. I got up to go pee. Of course, I was like hooked up to stuff. But anyway.
The monitors.
The monitors, yeah, monitoring the baby. I got up to pee, and then I came and sat back down in the bed. And like, as soon as I sat down, I felt like a pop. And I was like, what? And then like water came out. And I was like, I think my water just broke.
And then she sat up and she's like, or I just peed a little. She's like, I don't know.
And then so I like wobbled to the bathroom and more water was coming out. And I'm like, I think my water broke.
And she was in there for like 6 minutes and I heard water and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, so my water did break.
I called in the nurse and then told them that her water broke. And so they wanted to check her to see if it did break.
Yep. And they checked me again, and I think I was still at a 1, right?
Yeah.
They checked me like at 4 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I was at a 1 still. But my water did break. And then after that, everything started going downhill from there.
It was pretty bad.
My contractions got way more intense. They started me on Pitocin.
Yes.
Which makes your contractions more intense anyway.
To help
start labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, to help my dilation because I wasn't dilating anymore, even though my water broke.
Yeah.
And then the contractions just got worse and worse, and that was like awful. I was in so much pain. It was like 9 o'clock, I think, and that's like when they really started hurting.
In the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's been like 5 hours.
Yeah, and like, oh my gosh, I was crying. I was like, I cannot go through 20 more hours of this because they told me like as soon as your water breaks from 24 hours from then, like you have to have the baby.
Yep.
Or else like they're just gonna do C-section and get it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't go through 20 more hours of these contractions. I was like bawling.
I asked the nurse if we could do C-section because Sienna was like,
we're like, can we just do a C-section now?
And the nurse was like, nah, honey, you're past that. And Sienna's like, please.
Yeah, and then I asked for like an epidural, and she's like, you have to be dilated to at least a 4 for the epidural,
and I was like a 2.
I wasn't dilating at all.
Yeah.
So I was just like so sad, and Josh was doing such a good job of like trying to comfort me, but I didn't want him to touch me because I thought that'd make things worse.
And I felt stressed out because like I didn't want to just be sitting there like across the room in this chair. I wanted to be like up by her, but she's like, I don't want you near me. I don't want you to touch me. And then every time a nurse came in, they'd look at me and think that I wasn't being nice or like wasn't being a good husband. I'm like, this woman don't want me to touch her. Like, you know, and I would always tell them, I was like, hey, I want to get like hold her hand, but she won't let me. And they're like, well, it's okay. They knew.
But yeah, so what they said that the doctor was going to come check me at like 12.
At noon, yeah.
At noon. And that's when she would like decide if I was like close enough to get the epidural or not.
Yeah.
And I think they checked me and I was like at a 2.5 or something like that.
Yeah. And they said they wanted you to do something. Remember she said if you did something for like an hour.
Oh, get on the ball.
Yeah, so, and you did not want to get on the ball.
No, because I did not want to get out of bed because my contractions hurt so bad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And there's like a reader on the contraction thing and it says numbers of like where it was at. And I remember like when it first started it was at like 4 and I was like, ooh, I feel that. And then when she started crying, it was like at 20, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so awful. And I told the nurse that, and she's like, honey, it's going to get past 150. And I was like, oh,
I know, and I lost it.
She lost it. I
started crying, and I was like, I can't do that.
And then, like, further on in the pregnancy, I mean, the labor, it was like go all the way to like 170, and then it would like slowly go down to like 80, and like 80 was the starting point. So she was way past the 20 that she originally was. But anyway, so you got told if you got out of bed, did the ball.
Yeah. Then at noon, doctor would come down and check me and see if I could get the epidural. So noon comes, I get on the ball. The doctor comes downstairs and checks me. You faked it a little bit because you made it seem like you were on the ball a lot longer than you were. Yeah, I was only on the ball for like 15
minutes. The doctor was like, if you're on it for like an hour, then...
Yeah.
And the nurse is like, well, we better get you on there. So when she comes down, you're on the ball.
Yeah.
And...
but anyway, so she checked me and I was at a 4.
Yes.
So that was just so exciting because she was like, all right, we're at 4, we can get the epidural. And I just started crying because I was so relieved. It was awful to go through all that pain, but I was so happy to get the epidural. I would not have not wanted the epidural, hands down.
No, and then when she got the epidural process was like, I mean, I didn't go through it, but you definitely took it like a champ. You didn't like act like it was a big deal at all.
It hurt a lot less than the contractions did. I'll tell you that much. At that point, I was just like, anything to make these contractions stop. I want to do it.
And what happened once the epidural hit?
Once the epidural hit, it took like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole process. It was like fast, and then once it kicked in, I felt nothing. I didn't feel a single contraction for the rest of the time.
Yeah, you knew they were there, you said, but like...
Yeah, like I knew they were there just because like I could kind of feel like it a little bit, but no pain whatsoever. 0 pain. Do the epidural if you have the chance, because that was like awesome. I felt so much better. I felt nicer. I felt like myself. It was awesome.
But once we got the epidural...
Things started going
downhill. That's when everything went downhill for baby.
Yes.
So
I had to lay on my back for the epidural to distribute, like I guess through my body, evenly.
So it wasn't on one side.
But the baby, you know how you're not supposed to lay on your back when you're pregnant. The baby didn't like me laying on my back, and so his heart rate started to decel. And so they just kept watching him. They tried to get me to shift a little bit to the left, shift a little bit to the right. For like an hour or 2 hours, right?
Yeah, probably
that
like
went on
an
for
hour.
Like an hour or so.
Hour and a half, yeah.
And then...
Well, so anyways, after that happened, the nurse came in. They said that things kind of went back to normal. And then they came back in like 10 minutes later. And they said it was still decelling. And I was like, what? You just said it was normal. And they just said things weren't like going that great. So they were going to call Dr. J. And she came down and... like, instantly everything changed.
Yeah.
So
the doctor came in the room, and she's like...
very serious.
Yeah, very serious. And I think that we both knew, like, we looked at each other, and we both knew, like, when the doctor came in, and she was, like, so serious that, like, we knew we were going to go to C-section.
Yeah, we knew something was up.
And so, like, she, like, sat down next to me, and, like, the nurse was in there. And she's like, so, like, the baby...
Did she hold your hand?
Maybe, I don't remember. She's like, so the baby is not doing good.
Yeah.
Like, not tolerating, like, being on my back and whatnot. And so she's like, basically she said, we're going to have to go to C-section at this point because it's what's safest for both of the mom and the baby.
And then I know she gave me a hug. And then she's like, I'll give you guys a little bit of time together. She's like, I'll give you guys a little bit of time together so that you can talk. She's like, I'm really sorry it went this way. Which, like... we talked about it in like the C-section versus natural birth, and we didn't really we weren't super passionate about it, but she was definitely very considerate of our feelings.
Yeah, because I think it is really important to a lot of people, but for Josh and I, like, whatever happens is supposed to happen. I think that the biggest downfall was just having to go through the contractions in that whole process, even though I was going to get a C-section in the end. I wish I could have just been scheduled for a C-section, you know?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like, you can't turn back, so why be upset about it?
Right.
You know?
So then she's like, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time so that you can talk. And then like a minute and 30 seconds went by, literally no more than 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes.
So like
tops.
maybe 2 minutes tops. And then all of them come in their scrubs. And they're like covered in their face masks. They're wearing hair buns. They're wearing a blue suit. They're wearing freaking booties. And then they throw me some stuff. They're like, put this on right now. And I'm like, what? And they're like, I was like, I don't think these are gonna fit over my feet. And they're like, they're the biggest ones that we have. And I'm wearing sandals, and I'm like, do I wear my sandals or do I not wear my sandals? They're like, wear your sandals. And I was like, okay. And then my booty ripped, and I'm freaking out, and they're hauling Sienna away. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like freaked out. And then, so they pull us out there. Like, literally, this all went down. Like, what?
Yeah, it was super fast.
6 minutes, maybe, total?
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
The doctor didn't say this was, like, an emergency C-section, but the way they acted...
Like, it was an emergency C-section.
It had to have been an emergency C-section.
And then they put me in this hallway, and they took Sienna on the thing, and they put me in a waiting room, and I was totally alone, which was awful. Because,
and they took me to the surgery room, the OR, operating room.
Yeah.
And they started getting me all ready for surgery, and I honestly was like freaking out inside. I was like nervous and anxious, so I like don't even remember what all happened. They were just like bandaging me up, and at one point I had my bra, and they're like, we need to cut this off, and I'm like, no. And they're like, okay. So then the anesthesiologist is like, here, I can do it. And he like tried to do it one-handed. He's like, I used to be good at this back in the day.
We really like the anesthesiologist though.
Yeah,
he was cool.
Funny.
So anyways, I was in that waiting room for about 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then they like escort me to the room. They told me to like put my hands up so like I don't touch anything. And then all of a sudden I hear the surgeon, he said something to the extent of, is the husband in here because I need to start right now? And I was like, ah! And then so like they wheel me onto the other side, but they start cutting my wife open, and I see like them start, and I'm like, holy cow. And so they pull me on the other side, and they're like, don't look over the curtain unless you want to look over the curtain. And I was like, I'm not going to look over the curtain.
Yeah, and the anesthesiologist guy, he was, we should tell him about the belly button.
Oh yeah.
So when he was getting me all like numbed up for, you know, the C-section, he was like testing my pain tolerance, and he's like, does this hurt? He's like, can you feel this? And I'm like, I feel like a pinch. He's like, does it hurt? And I was like, no, it just feels like a pinch. He's like, well, I'm lifting your belly button and pinching it as hard as I can. And my biggest fear is my belly button being messed with. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was just like, really? So I didn't like that, but at the same time, the anesthesiologist was cool.
He was like, awesome.
And so like, he was like, do you want me to tell you when they start cutting you open? And I was like, yes, please.
And he's like, they started 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, he's like, they've already started. And I was like, oh my gosh.
And then I just remember, like, I just put my head on your head, and I was like praying and freaking out and worried about you and asking if you were okay. And then
I was like 30 minutes,
maybe,
45 minutes.
Oh, probably not even that. It felt like that long. It might have been like 20, 30 minutes.
I don't know.
And all of a sudden we hear
a baby cry.
And then
what? You tell them.
Yeah, so basically,
I kind of like was just like out of it a little
so
bit.
basically, they yelled, like they said something, and they started counting really loud. They pull this baby out. I don't really see it because the nurses instantly take him over to this like heating pad changing thing. I don't really know what it was. It was like the side table thing where they wiped off the blood. And then I looked over, and then all the nurses were like, oh! And then we looked over, I looked over, and he was peeing on all the nurses, which was really, really funny. And the anesthesiologist made a joke about that too. And then they brought the baby over, and then we both started crying.
And put him on my chest.
And they put him on his chest, and then without any prompting, like the nurse didn't help him do this, and Sienna didn't do this, but he just latched onto her breast and started like feeding, which was really cool. Which Sienna wasn't like sure if she was gonna feed, and I think that might have been the moment that you decided you would.
Yeah.
Because he just instantly knew like he had to go there and start eating, and he did that. And then we just loved on him.
And then they took us to the recovery room for like an hour.
Yeah.
And he was just on my chest during that time. Is that all they did? They just
checked his temperature.
Like heart rate and temperature
and heart rate,
and stuff like that.
Talked to Sienna, checked on you, checked your incision, wound, and then they gave me an apple juice.
Yep, there's lots of snacks during this process, which is good.
And then we went to the room, and we just started.
Yeah, we just started taking care of him. We had to write down every time he pooped, every time he fed, how long his feeding
Sienna
were.
couldn't really, like, you couldn't change him at all.
Yeah, I couldn't change him because I couldn't get out of bed, in and out of bed very easily at all. Actually, I didn't stand up at all until the next day. So Josh changed all of his poopy diapers. There's a little tip that we saw online that if you put Vaseline on the baby's butt before their first poop comes out because it's really tarry and black and sticky. Then it wipes right off. So we did that.
And a lot of people gave me crap. I told a couple of my coworkers about that, and I'm calling you out. Like, they made fun of me, and they're like, that's never gonna work, and blah blah. And then we did it, and it worked perfect.
It worked really good.
It literally wiped right off.
Yep.
So definitely put Vaseline
on the baby's
butt before he has his first poop.
Yep.
And we actually did that for like the first couple poops.
Yeah, because the first couple poops are all that black
so
tarry stuff.
We did that like pretty much the whole first like day, 2 days,
That
and it was
in the hospital.
no problem at all. So
yeah.
Who's laughing now?
So basically we were just on that schedule. Josh was swaddled him.
You did skin to skin.
I basically fed him. You changed all the diapers.
I did skin to skin.
And then like I don't remember what day it was when I stood up first. Was it the next day? Wednesday?
Yeah, I think it was Wednesday.
So Wednesday. Oh, by the way, we had him at 6 p.m.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday,
yeah.
June 2nd. He was 7 pounds, 13 ounces, so he really wasn't 8 pounds, 11 ounces.
No, and he was 21 inches long, though. He was huge.
Yeah, he was long.
So, oh yeah, I guess that's a good reason to like tell them what happened, why he was decelling. Because of his position with his head.
Oh yeah, he was also crooked.
So his neck was like this. Well, I mean worse than that. It was like cranked over and stuck on the inside of Sienna.
So
like
I wouldn't have had a natural birth anyway.
And if that, it could have been really bad.
Yeah.
They said so.
Yeah. So anyway, the first time I stood up, I about passed out.
Yep.
But then I eventually did get to stand up. My recovery went well. Everything was good. That
pretty good.
Crew has been cruising.
Crew's been cruising? Oh, that's cute.
He was doing really good, and we stayed at the hospital. So we started Monday night, and we stayed clear until Friday morning is when we left.
It was a long stay. I mean, it was great. They had snacks. The food was fantastic.
Yeah,
for a hospital.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
it was really good.
For a small hospital, that was way above my expectations.
Yeah, same.
Nurses were fantastic. They helped us out a lot.
Yep, he had his first bath.
Yeah, with his grandma.
Yeah, my mom. Since my mom works at the hospital, she gave him his first bath.
That was
so
really
that was
cool.
nice. He passed his like hearing test and stuff like that.
Initial screening, got sent out to the state.
Just everything like that. And then
Circ went good.
Yep.
His umbilical cord looked good. Like literally
Everything
nothing.
went
Yeah,
good.
everything was on point. So he was a good little baby.
Yep. So, and then Friday morning.
Oh wait, that first night, slept like a charm.
Yeah.
Second night,
No.
no. Third night,
No.
no. But yeah, so I want to tell them about like the next weekend, but we can do that in a different.
No, we can do that now.
So okay, so on Friday.
Friday we went home.
We left the hospital. We told them Thursday night. We said, "Hey, get everything done as soon as possible because we want to bounce in the morning."
Yeah.
Because we were tired. Like we loved the hospital, but like we wanted to
sleep in our own bed.
Sleep in our bed. Smell like hospitals have a certain smell, so we wanted to smell our house and see our dogs and.
Yeah.
So anyways, we left the hospital. Do you want to talk? I feel like I'm
go ahead.
talking.
I feel like I've talked a lot.
All right. So anyways, so that day we left, and we took him in the car. That is like the most scared I've ever been driving. I literally was in the parking lot at a stop sign crying because I was so scared to drive. And then we drove to Sabetha.
Oh yeah.
And then we saw my mom and my dad, so his grandparents, we saw them. And then we actually drove to my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So Crew got to meet his great-grandma and great-grandpa, which was awesome. Other than that, like we decided we weren't going to have them be around a lot of people. Just because of the COVID-19 pandemic and everything going on. And really, babies aren't supposed to be around a lot of germs or people until they're a month old.
Yeah, anyway.
So that their mucous cell membrane can develop. So, did all that, and then we took them home. And then we're like, holy cow, here it goes.
Yeah, that was scary. And we both, those first few days, we both cried so much.
Mm-hmm.
We were scared. We were tired.
Panicky,
yeah.
I mean,
my mom came the first night to a little bit, and we actually left the house and went to McDonald's just to get a drink, just that way we could, just have a little breather.
Yeah, because it's a lot. Your first kid is a lot. Like, this was terrifying, and like, even though it was the first, we kind of felt bad, but it's like we just had to go 15-minute drive to go to McDonald's because we needed to
just breathe
be
for
okay.
a second and feel a little bit normal, like get us together, that way we could be the best parents for him.
Yeah. So we did that, and then that first weekend was trash. He was awful when it came to sleeping at night.
He just wanted to eat. And
Constantly.
We'd eat, and then we put him down, and then he'd cry. And then Josh is like, I think he's hungry.
And Sienna's
because
like, no,
he kept rooting, and like rooting is when they go like, and he just kept doing that, which means that he's hungry. And so I literally like fed him all night long.
And then there was one night when I was like, dude, I literally like, this was like day 3, this was like Sunday night, and Sienna had not slept for like 2 nights, and I was like, you know what, dude, we like have to go to the front room because I don't know if you're hungry or what's going on, so.
Yeah, so like Josh would take him, that way I could sleep a little bit.
Yeah, and I took him.
And I tried to hold him, because we thought maybe he didn't like sleeping in his bassinet, so we were like trying to hold him, and while the other one got some sleep, because that's the only way he'd be a little bit quiet.
Yeah. So that like night when I went out to the front room because I was like, Sienna's got to sleep because she's gonna like die or pass out. So I went out and we watched Tarzan 1, and then we watched Tarzan 2, and then we watched Chicken Little, and like we watched all these movies, and like I would take him in there every once in a while to feed, and I'd change a diaper, and I'd take him in there to feed, and she was able to get some sleep, and then you also, I mean, she let me sleep in well past like the morning into the afternoon because while she was awake, she's like, you go to bed so that you can rest. So we kind of took shifts, which was cool. She does way better in the morning. I do way better at night. So
yeah,
we did that, and then
on Saturday I had a breastfeeding. So like the day after, and it went well because we didn't think anything was wrong. And then we had his first week appointment on Tuesday, and that's when things changed. We took him to his appointment, and he still wasn't like back at his birth weight or even close.
Well, he lost weight, didn't he? Like he was down.
I don't remember.
Because he was like down to 7 pounds 2 ounces. So he was 713 when he was born, and then that next Monday he was 7 pounds 2 ounces.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they're like, okay, we think you have a milk supply problem. So that explains why he just wanted to eat and eat and eat because he wasn't getting satisfied. So they said to start supplementing him with formula. And so ever since we did that, he has been sleeping.
The best baby in the world.
Yes, he has been awesome. He eats. I wake him up every 2.5.
Feet.
I wake him up every 2.5 to 3 hours to feed him, and then he sleeps again.
So like we wake him up, you feed him, and then most of the time do the bottle. Is that fair? Like half the time? Do the bottle feeding. You breast, I do bottle.
Oh, like the only bottle, you mean?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Do you mean like after I feed him?
So after you feed him, I do the bottle a lot.
I feel like I do the bottle a lot.
What? At nighttime?
Not the 2 ounces.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you do that most of the time.
Yeah, but you do the little bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Whatever.
So anyway, after we feed him, we supplement him with formula, and so that's been going really well.
And then we burp him, and then we put him back down to bed.
So we're still working on figuring out my milk supply issue. I'm trying everything, and
Cookies,
it really
tea.
hasn't like gotten better. But I have an appointment tomorrow, so we'll see how it is then. But the good thing is that he's gaining weight. So
yeah, so on Friday I actually took him back because he had a little abnormality in his screening with his thyroid, so they're checking that out. So we should know next week, but I really think that he's fine. They said that that's really common for that to be odd or off a little bit. So anyways, when I took him to the doctor on Friday to give Sienna a break, he was at 7 pounds 14.9 ounces.
Which is the first time he's been above his birth weight.
Yes, so he gained from Monday he was 7'7", and then on Friday he was 7'15" basically.
Yes, so he's doing really good.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it.
He sleeps through the night almost every night, knock on wood. He sleeps like 3 hours, and then wake up feed 3 hours every night.
He's doing awesome. He's such a good baby.
He does not cry very much at all.
We're still getting used to, we still don't feel 100% normal yet. Like we almost feel normal 100%, but not quite yet. We're still getting there. This is the first day I've worn makeup, so I don't think I have my life all put together because I don't. So I'm slowly starting to get to wear normal clothes. Trying to like breastfeed and stuff like that, and figuring all that out is hard, like with your clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like so.
I mean,
Josh goes back to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
From home, working from home.
So crazy. I've been off for 2 weeks. I used all my sick days. Still have some vacation days, thank goodness. So Start work tomorrow, so that's crazy and
Yeah.
wild. But we start tomorrow.
Yep.
So.
So
And I will do that for 2 weeks from home, pretty much.
yeah.
So 8 days because we don't work on Fridays. So
Yeah. But I think that's about all the details we have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. You have anything else to add?
I mean, like you said, something interesting that you said is that, you know, you don't really feel normal. When you said that you were like, we were really both really off for a couple days because we're like, oh, like our life is, like we were happy for Crew and we loved Crew instantly and there was so much love for him already, but we were like, our life as we know it, done.
Yeah.
And you said you were at like 30%, like feeling normal.
Yeah.
And I was at like 10. I was like, our life is over. I have to sell my season tickets to the Chiefs. Like, I can never do anything. And now today you said that you were at what?
80%.
80%. I would say I'm at 90. You know, just because I'm finding joy in the little things that I really like to do, like my morning poops and like just doing stuff like that. You know, like just hanging out. So I'm definitely back to normal. I would say my biggest piece of advice for anyone that's going to go through this is, especially if you're like a dad in the situation, or the partner in the situation, it's hard. Like I know it's so hard for them because they're going through it, but it's definitely like emotionally tolling on you. So make sure that you're talking about it to your significant other, because like Sienna said earlier, you got to be your best self so that you can be your best parent, the best parent possible. And I know that if I wouldn't have been authentic with Sienna about the different emotions that I had when I was definitely emotional and like scared and nervous, and I had really bad anxiety through it, if I wouldn't have communicated that with her and then just like let that sink in, it would have been a way worse situation. I would not have felt normal for a long time. So that's my biggest piece of advice.
You gotta talk the stuff out.
Yes.
For sure. But, well, we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm glad that we have this story to look back on, because I've already forgotten some details, you know, since then. So I'm glad that we have this look back on, so that way we can always look and listen to our birth story for Crew. As of right now, we don't want another kid.
No more kids.
So
we initially started our relationship and said we wanted 3 kids.
Yes. 2
boys and a girl.
And then we started watching This Is Us, and then we're like, no way. We have to have 2 kids.
Boy and a girl.
And then now we're like, having a baby is so hard, we never want to do this again.
But like, we love him.
Yes.
We love him so much, and he is so easy.
But we don't know if we could do this again. It's so hard.
It is hard. And like, it's really stressful because I think he's a great baby.
Yeah, he's like a really perfect baby.
Like, he's not colicky at all, and I can't imagine if we got a like sick baby or a colicky baby or a baby that has...
Props to people who...
Oh my gosh, seriously, so many props to you all.
Yeah.
Because having a baby's hard.
Very hard.
But we might just have 1 kid and spoil Crew. And Sienna said, well, what if like we want to do a sibling? And I was like, you know what, we can just get him a dog. So
we already have 2 fur siblings.
Yeah, so he might have a 3rd one someday. Like, not anytime soon, because we ain't having any more responsibilities right now.
No. But we hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up.
Like it,
comment
subscribe
below if you have any questions for us. And
share it on your Facebook page.
Yes. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Which we don't know when that will be. Give us some grace because we just have a new baby. So, bye guys.
Bye.
That was good.